I call this meeting to order at 6 p.m. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? One sec.
Can you get out of the way?
Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Four directors are present, and let the record reflect that President Kiava is on Zoom. Approval of agenda. Are there any changes, Mr. Bartz?
No changes to the agenda tonight.
May I have a motion?
I'll move.
Motion by Director Roberts.
I'll second.
A second by Director Hoffman. All in favor of the motion? Say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Agenda approved. Public comment. Do we have any public present?
There are no members of the general public in person. Online, I have a phone number that is 1202, ending 1202. Do you have a general public comment?
Good evening. This is Kevin Kinley from Cucamonga Valley Water District. I wanted to have an opportunity to speak to the board if possible.
This would be the ideal time for that. It's the public comment period.
Okay. Thank you. So good evening. My name is, like I said, Kevin Kinley. I'm on the board of directors for Cucamonga Valley Water District, and I'm currently seeking to be part of the LAFCO committee to represent the special districts in the alternate seat. And I wanted to take a moment to reach out to all of you and tell you a little bit about myself and why I'm running. I am a freshman member of the board of directors for Cucamonga Valley Water District, having just been elected in 2019. However, over the past over 2 years that I've been on the board, I've taken a lot of time to learn the dynamics of the water industry and system down here in the valley. And one thing that's been really eye-opening to me is the special role that special districts play in the dynamics of local governance, both throughout our specific local areas and throughout the county, and even on a regional and state level. I was approached by Jim Curatolo a few weeks ago. He had decided that he was not going to seek re-election. He has been serving on the LAFCO committee since 2002. And he felt that in the time that I've been on the board, I've displayed enough desire to learn and understanding of everything and ability to understand the things that we've been going through to be a good representative on the LAFCO committee. So I told him I would be willing to pursue the alternate seat, kind of just to get onto the committee, be an understudy, and prepare myself hopefully for the future to run for one of the regular seats. Your staff should have received a letter, either physical or email form, giving a little bit of backstory on me. It would also include my personal cell number, and I would say if any of you have any questions or would like to have a discussion, whether any of you directors or if your general manager would like, please feel free to reach out to me. I would even be willing to come up there and meet in person if you had that desire. And, as I've said, I've really gained an understanding of the role the special districts play and how important good representation on LAFCO is for special districts, whether it's with boundary changes, and I know there have been a couple instances where other agencies or districts or municipalities have wanted to, how they interact with the special districts. And if you have any questions, I could answer those if your board allows, or you can reach out to me.
Well, we're bound by the Brown Act not to really ask questions right now. So I'm pretty sure that if any of the directors want to get in touch with you, they will. Thank you, though. That's great information.
Thank you. And I wish you all a good evening, and I hope your meeting goes well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kinley.
Thank you.
Okay, community reports. Why don't we start with sheriff since they're in person?
Hello, good evening. Jeremy Martinez from Jackson Valley Station. Just wanted to stop by again since COVID allowed us to meet again. Get back out and see everybody. What did I mess up? See, you got to tell me these things. But yeah, I just want to get out here to say hi to everybody again and just let everybody know I send Dawn the press releases that we do weekly with all the marijuana eradications going on. And Dawn and his staff have been very helpful. They communicate stuff to us. So I just want to reiterate though, with the marijuana grows, don't approach them, don't do anything like that. Just report it, send it to us, let us do that. At the end of December, 2 of my deputies were shot at out off of Sheep Creek out by the El Mirage Way. And they were just doing a vehicle check when they were just had to be too close to a grow. So those are one of the things we want to avoid. We don't want anybody to get hurt, anybody to get shot. So just please use caution. And if you suspect it's a grow, just tell us. We'll go out, we'll scout it, we'll do all those things that we need to do. But the other reason I'm here is Lieutenant Joe Janowitz got transferred and his replacement, Lieutenant Ryan Smith, is here. So I want everybody to get a chance to meet him, and I'll let him introduce himself.
Good evening. My name is Ryan Smith. I'm new to the Victor Valley Station, but I'm a local up here to the desert. I grew up in Victorville. I'm familiar with Phelan and Wrightwood and all these areas. I did most of my patrol time out in the desert in Hesperia, Adelanto, and now I'm excited to work in the Victor Valley. So I'm still getting up to speed. Obviously, things are changed since the about 15 years when I worked up here 15 years ago. So I'm getting up to speed. I'm excited to get to know everyone and to help the community move forward.
Welcome.
Good to have you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, guys.
Good evening, Sergeant Paul Saluda, Victor Valley Sheriff Station. The stats for the Phelan area for the month of February, there were 617 total calls for service, 84 reports were taken, and out of those 84 reports, there were 19 arrests. And then for the area of Pinion Hills, there were 192 total calls for service, 39 reports were taken, and 10 of those were cleared out by arrest. Additionally, out of those 39 reports, 7 reports were taken due to marijuana eradication.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for the
Thank you.
updates. Thank you.
Thank you.
Get him.
In Pinion
Get 'em.
Hills, huh? They're creeping. up
Okay,
there.
next we'll there. And thank you guys for all the work you're doing. We'll go with County Supervisor's Office with Samuel Shoup.
Hi, everybody. I just want to say good evening. Thank you to the board for having me tonight. My glasses are reflecting on the camera, so I'm gonna take that off. A little bit of an update for you today regarding, I was brought up recently at the Phelan legislative meeting. A director had made a comment about the intersection on Phelan Road and Clovis near that McDonald's over there.
Mhm.
After that, I did reach out to our Public Works Department, who informed me that there has been recent analysis done on that intersection on Phelan and Clovis, where they've decided a traffic signal is warranted and will be put in place soon-ish. There is a 3-prong plan or 3-project plan, as they put it, over the next few years regarding Phelan Road in general. The first part of which will be intersection improvements throughout the area on, let's see, Tumbleweed, Sunny Vista, Arrowhead, I think some others. Just general improvements. We're anticipating construction on that will start this summer. The road rehabilitation and signal installation on Clovis will begin the following summer in 2023. So we're going to have a new light put in there, as well as kind of fixing up the area just to make things a little safer, a little easier. Additionally, the third prong is the Phelan Road widening. That one is a little less concrete. I think I mentioned it before. I want to say last time. They're kind of in the preliminary design and environmental phase on that one. The rest of the project funding has been identified and secured for those first two phases. So those are good to go, ready to go when the department reaches that stage and the time frame I gave. But the widening is still a little bit subject to funding availability. They're anticipating that one will be about 2025. So, which feels really, really far off. It does, but so does 2023. So we're excited to see those projects moving forward. Additionally, our phenomenal deputies mentioned the marijuana grows. I just want to point out this has been 6 months now. I believe last week, they'll correct me if I'm wrong on that, 6 months of investigations through the marijuana enforcement team. So I just want to say, as always, a big thank you to all the efforts they've been putting out there. I mean, we just heard about exactly how dangerous it can be. So we're really thankful to have the officers that we do, keeping these communities safe from this particular issue. But that's all I have specifically. If anyone has any questions, as always, I'll do my best.
Any questions? No. Thank you so much for that update. I'll be sure to pass the information on.
Please do. Thank you so much.
Okay, next we'll go with Ken Anderson from Mojave Water.
Good evening. How are you this evening?
Good. Nice to see you again.
Thanks. Yeah, we'll try and do this presentation. Is Kim at the helm there, or can I share my screen?
Yes, 1 second.
I'm not sure if I'm capable.
Go ahead.
Let's see.
Green button at the bottom, Ken.
Just mouse over where it says share screen.
Got it.
Remember, technology saves time.
Okay, share. Wow. Okay. So I thought I would just do a short presentation on some of the items we're working with right now. We have our free production allowance that is a yearly obligation that we have under the adjudication. This is done through the Water Master. I'd like to just share a few items before we do that. I don't know if any of you have seen this, but this is the ramp down procedures, or what we've been able to do, verify over the last several years. 1990, the Mojave Water Agency boundaries used 223,000 acre feet of water, and that has been ramped down to about 125,200 acre feet. So a lot of reduction has been done. But we still have a ways to go. If we look at this, is the Mojave River flow at the Forks. This is kind of one of our major gauges that we use on how much water the high desert is receiving. The bars that are in red are those that are below average normally, and then the grayish ones are the above average. So the average flow is about 68,000 acre feet a year. If you notice, the last 10 years, all those years have been under our average flow. So we continue to receive less water than we'd like, but we are obviously working on. Well, long term, we have to deal with whatever we're given as far as the water production is concerned. If we look at the proposed free production allowance, this is a chart of where we're at now. Of course, in the West Day, you are currently at 60%, and that will be proposed to be 55%, so a 5% ramp down. This is based on our ongoing analysis of what the high desert or what our sub areas are able to produce. See if I can get this a little bit bigger. Oh, this is taxing. I'm sorry. How do let's see, let's try it. You're in, I don't think you can see the, oh, there we go. How's that?
Oop. Whoop.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Maybe this isn't worth it. So here is a West Day. You see that? The, I'm afraid.
There we go.
Now you can see that?
Yes.
Okay. So this is your current amount of water that you are using, 4,355 acre feet. This is what we would call our safe yield in the Oeste area. And right now, this is your 60% free production allowance, 3,560. So you kind of get an idea here of what we're dealing with. What this means that over the next several years until 2028, 2029, we will have to continue to ramp down the free production allowance 5% every year until we reach this safe production yield. Or we're able to determine that this number is not 100% accurate and we'll be able to readjust them along the way.
Work on that one. Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
What is that level?
That's right here, 1712.
What percent ramp down would that be?
It ramps us down to 25%. That's here. So that is the, as far as adjudication is concerned, that's where we need to go to in order to have safe yield. I did see a couple of things that would make us think that those numbers are not 100% accurate. This is the annual change in storage areas. If you see here, the Oeste area, they're actually showing supply and consumption to be almost the same. So this is an indication that we might have some leeway in the future. But according to the current adjudication, we will have to continue to do this adjustment until we reach that current safe yield. In addition, I just wanted to mention, this is the schedule that we're working on. In February, we provided the first look at this at the Water Masters meeting. We're sending out notices, and we'll have a public hearing on March 23rd. And then that recommendation will eventually go to the court for their follow-up and their acceptance of this 5% ramp down in the Oeste area. We do not control that. It's done by the court. And that is what we've been able to see as the future here. And that's kind of where we're at this point. The other thing I just wanted to follow up on, we have the Oeste water recharge that is being worked on now. I think all of you know where that's at. just off of Oasis Road, north of the aqueduct. We have actually been able to finish the monitoring well, and they believe that there was a lot of good information from that. At this point, they are working on the samples, but it looks like we would be able to have a very productive recharge basin in this area. The monitoring well was drilled to 650 feet and water was at 600 feet. I think that's pretty close to obviously the wells that we have in the area, which are shown here, the different CSD wells that we have. So pending the results of the lab analysis, they will be able to start the environmental process and move forward with a retention basin in that area. And that's our current plan.
Okay, any other questions from any of the directors? How about Charlie? Okay, Charlie.
Mr. Anderson, you indicated that based on some statistics you currently have, that the storage supply is pretty close to even on that schedule. Thank you. So if there was to be a change to the methodology that's used by the court, would that have to come from the water master?
Well, the data is provided by the water master, yes. And it would take the judge to actually approve it. At this point, the only thing that's approved is the continuing of the ramp down.
No, I understand that part, but the data is what it is. And if the data continues to be favorable, would
adjustments can be made, yes.
Well, would that be a recommendation from the water master to the court?
When they feel comfortable, I would say yes, they would. Absolutely.
And would our board representative be our advocate for that? Oh, I'm sorry. Who is that? Who is that guy?
Yes, he would. He would.
Oh, good. Right answer.
I think we're a few years away from that, Charlie. But I think as we move down the path, if there's evidence showing that water levels are increasing, which we've actually seen in some other areas, then yes, the water master has said that they certainly could be reevaluated.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? No. How about you, Director Chiava, or President Chiava, I should say?
No questions. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Wish you were coming with better news. Okay. Is there anybody else we needed? That's it. Okay.
Thanks, Ken.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, consent items. Does anybody have any items they'd like to pull? Okay.
Are we on the
consent?
Oh, the consent items? No.
Okay. I will
I'll move the consent items.
I got a first. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
A first by Director Roberts and second by Director Hoffman. Can I get a all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Matters, no matters removed from the consent items. Presentation of appointments. Do we have any?
None.
None? Okay. On to 6A, discussion and possible adoption of resolution number 2022-09, establishing a conflict of interest code. Mr. Wertz.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. A local agency's conflict of interest code must reflect the current structure of the organization and properly identify officials and employees who should be filling statements of economic interest, which are Form 700s. A code tells public officials, governmental employees, and consultants what financial interest they must disclose in their Form 700s. It helps provide transparency in local government as required under the Political Reform Act. To ensure conflict of interest codes remain current and accurate, each local agency is required to review its code at least every even numbered year. The County Board of Supervisors is the code reviewing body for the county agencies. This resolution was updated on January 20th, 2021. The only substantive modification was to the disclosure category, wherein the executive management analysis position was added. And the staff's recommendation is for the board to adopt 2022-09, establishing a conflict of interest code.
If I could tack on one thing to that on page 51 of the packet, in section 7, so number 7.05. Last year, that amount was updated to $520. And when I updated it this year, it got deleted. So that section right there at 7.05 should state $520 because that's what we updated it to last year.
Thank you.
7.05.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Any questions, Director Hoffman?
No.
Director Roberts?
I assume all the numbers now are correct, so that's fine.
Director Johnson?
I'll move approval of staff recommendation with the modification that was identified.
I'll second.
One more person. Do we have any questions, Director? Yeah,
No.
okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have a first by Director Johnson, a second by Director Roberts. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Motion passes. 6B, discussion and possible action regarding temporary facility use agreement with Asphalt, how do you pronounce it? Ashland Construction for APN 3066-26110.
Thank you. Asplin Construction approached the district regarding the APN 3066-26-110, which is the property just to the north of us at the end of the parking lot. And they've been using it for a light duty construction yard and storage for the commercial autos, trailers, and equipment for the jobs. They've been doing a lot of the change outs for the power poles out here. On March 3rd, 2021, the board approved a facility use agreement for $2,500 per month for a term of 8 months. On November 17th, 2021, an extension up till April 20th, 22 was authorized and the monthly fee increased to $5,000. The term is set to expire April 20th, 2022, and Asplin Construction has requested additional extension until August 20th, 22, and has offered to increase the fee from $5,000 a month to $6,500 a month, which we think is a very reasonable cost. After the term expires, Asplin Construction requests the use of the site on a month-to-month consideration until construction of the district's project begins. So we were trying to figure out exactly when grading might occur with our project. Looking at the date of August 2022 seems to be a pretty reasonable amount of time. Looking at how long it's going to take us to get our permitting and go out to bid and everything on these projects. And so staff is recommending that the board prepare and execute a new temporary facilities use agreement with Asplin Construction for APN 3066-26110 and to extend the use period to August 20th, 22, and also authorize for the month-to-month consideration when we get up to that point. But I figure it's a good use of the property right now, brings in some additional funding to the district.
I agree. Okay, I'll start with Director Kiava, President Kiava.
No questions.
How about you, Director Hoffman?
No.
Director Roberts?
Just one, think they could fix the stuff that's blowing around.
Yes, that is one of the things we've asked them to fix the skirt around the property.
Yeah, that would be the only ask. Otherwise,
we will make sure that's done.
That's fine. Thank you.
Director Johnson?
Mr. Bartz, I sent a question to Ms. Lawrence asking to which fund is this revenue posted? She did not respond, so maybe we could take as an action item to get a response. Is that enterprise fund or government fund?
Yeah, I'm not going to answer because I need to look that up, but she is out of cell range for the time being. She'll be back in next week.
That's fine.
Okay.
It wasn't a good.
So we can, if you want, as an action item, we can just get that information back to you.
Yeah, just send an email.
That would be awesome. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, I will entertain a motion.
I'll move. Second.
A second. Okay, I have a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay, update on proposed Civic Center Phelan Park expansion project. Sure, Bart.
Yes, George is going to give you an update as always with this item.
Well, thank you, Mr. Bartz. There hasn't been much progress yet so far with the project itself for the Civic Center. I could kind of give you a little heads up on the county fees that are anticipated. Districts paid so far about $40,000 in plan check fees. We anticipate that there will be an additional $200,000 set aside for permit fees, local transportation, building permits. So we're kind of preparing ourselves for those fees. We're still waiting for the CEQA study to be completed, and that could be coming in the next month or so. As for the park, K2A will have a presentation to the board at the April 6th meeting. And this is more of a massaged site plan layout of the park. The park layout, let's just call it phase 3 that we've all been used to referring to. With that presentation, they will have available for us at the April 20th meeting, a proposal for the CUP. So the next meeting after the April 6th. With that, I have nothing more to add. If you have any questions.
Yeah, since we just discussed timelines, you don't have, I know the county is the county, but you don't have any kind of conceptual timeline for completing the permitting?
Yeah, for the Civic Center,
Right.
Yeah, there are still a couple of studies that are pending on revision for the Civic Center, and that's more the seepage, drainage, and percolation. That is being prepared as we speak. The county has the Civic Center site plan, the building plans, as well as the landscape plans. We're still waiting for final plan approvals for those. Now, we think maybe in about 1-2 months that we can have approved plans. These are the final submittals, so we anticipate that we're not going to have any more comments on those sites. Then with that being said, staff would then look at moving forward with bringing on a consultant to prepare the bidding documents, the schedule, and we'll bring that to the board for approval. Then we move forward with the schedule for bidding and then groundbreaking. So I would say October break ground, just looking at the couple of month process for each of those. So that's 6 months away, I would say. So we're close. We're close to that.
Well, because we just committed to August, so I just was curious as to what you anticipate the timeline.
That was brought up to staff about how comfortable we are to extend that agreement with the contractor.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Just a follow up from Mr. Bartz with regard to the Asplund contract. So they will be off of the property at the end of the term or at the month by month, right?
That is correct. Yeah. And as George explained, the timeline, August, we think is good. If we're a little bit slower, we can extend it out. And if we're ready to roll, that should be a great time frame for that.
But the end of the term, they're gone.
They're gone.
There's not.
Yeah. Now
you start removing things.
Well, if I say that they're gone, but I believe they've had their contract extended for doing additional work up here in the high desert. And we are looking at the option of additional sites. They'd initially looked at that.
That's fine. I'm not concerned about that.
Okay.
You mentioned that, I think, at the last meeting. So that was my only concern. I don't want it to impact and nobody does. I'm not the only one, of course. Thank you.
Any other questions? Good. Okay, update on the status of negotiations for consolidation with Sheep Creek Mutual Water Company into the district. Mr. Bartz.
Yeah, I really don't have a whole lot to update on. They're just going through the process right now, evaluating the different portions of the consolidation. George, do you have anything that I don't know about?
You know everything, Mr. Bart, but I will.
Thank you.
I will.
Wow, wait a minute.
I will state that we do have a meeting with the state tomorrow, and we've just completed the fire deficiency study with IEC, now Eudora. The projects didn't really change from what was proposed. That's going to be part of the package for the DFA application. So other than that, there's not much to add.
Do we have any questions for him? That is. Okay, thank you for the update. Okay, committee reports and comments. Antelope Valley Adjudication Committee. Do we have anything? Engineering.
Did not meet.
Okay, finance.
We meet in a special meeting on March 22nd.
Legislative, we meet in, I think, May. Parks and Recreation, street lighting.
Nothing new since the last time we met.
Okay. And waste and recycling, we meet next week. Okay, staff and general managers report. Mr. Bartz.
Yeah, just have a small update to the general manager's report. We did a few weeks ago have an employee that left, had a really good opportunity with another job opportunity that's really good for them. And I'd like to report that we did fill that position. We kind of fit that position in with what we have, the org chart that you had seen, looking at the future consolidation. And I'd like to report that we did hire Chris Cummings for position. He will be right under Sean. He will be the assistant field superintendent, starting at the end of the month of March.
Thank you.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Thank you for that information.
You're welcome.
Do we have any questions?
Well, so many, but not now. I do have a comment. I made an observation on page 76 at the top of page 76. I noticed that in previous years, the drop off from water consumption from December to January was considerable, and it turns out this January that did not happen. And I had a brief conversation with staff, but for the record, could we get an estimation of why it's stayed basically the same or actually higher than it was in December?
I'm going to pass that one on to Sean. He's got a.
Staff's been monitoring the activities of the illegal grows in the area with the district's AMI metering infrastructure, and I believe that's the culprit of the lack of decline in the month of January. From the data we can gather, it looks like people planted their crops.
So the growing season is upon us, huh?
Yes, that would appear so.
All right, thank you, Mr. Wright.
Thank you for that information. Any other questions? Okay. Director's reports. Director Hoffman.
Nothing to report.
Director Roberts.
Nothing to add.
Director Johnson. President Kiyava.
I attended the ASB-CSD meeting Monday night. We went a little off book. We didn't have a guest speaker, and we had a tie for the director position between Kelly Gregg and our Deborah Phillips. So we will be having a runoff next meeting. And that's it.
Thank you, President. And I attended the meeting as well. And yes, we have a runoff election next month. So it will be interesting. We had discussions of flipping a coin, all sorts of things. There's nothing in their bylaws to straighten this up. So it'll be interesting.
I want to look at that.
Yes, it's on the to-do list. And that's all I have. Correspondence and information. Ms. Ward.
Just the items in the packet. So we are promoting our free recycling drop-off at CR&R service yard. See if we can see an increase in voluntary recycling there. few people use it, so it is being used, but hopefully we'll see it increase. And then coming up in April, we have a community cleanup, and that flyer will be in the next packet. Just finished that one.
Any questions? Okay, moving on to review of action items, prior action items. Ms. Ward.
So we still have one outstanding regarding the dead end lines. That's going to come back to the next meeting. The dead end line analysis.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we have some info on that, and we'll put it in the packet for the next meeting. And then the Asplund revenue item from tonight. Where does the revenue go? Get that for you as soon as possible.
It's not urgent. It's just a random question.
I can tell you at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Okay, set agenda for next meeting. Do we have anything anybody wants to add? Not at this time? Okay. Then we will adjourn at 6:42, it looks like. Thank you, guys. By 4 minutes.